G'day guys, we are doing a few wild cards today. This wasn't part of the plan, but we're going to do it. So, originally, I had a few canvases that I had made, and as it turned out, I want to change them. So, I've got new canvases being made. That was loud. Hi Jamie. I've got new canvases being made, and those canvases have got brand new cotton on them, unprimed, so it looks more raw and special, and they're made out of New Zealand timber rather than pine, so very exciting. Anyway, today I've got this work to do while I wait for those canvases to be completed. So let's grab this. I think we'll just crack straight into it. Jamie, today I've got 3 pictures, but we'll see if we have time. We're gonna make a start. The first picture, that's pretty strong, so I'll just pull this down, is here. So we're going to kick off with the landscape. That's the plan. Now, where can I find... Here we go. Maybe just a little bit of clear painting medium. I had some. Use this one instead. It's a good cup of coffee, team. Made it myself. Hey, Sarah. Sarah, that is absolutely phenomenal. I would absolutely love to see that piece. Do I get to see it, or is it a secret? Totally understand if it's a secret. Hey, Glover, how you doing? And Santi, how you doing? Lizzie, you're quick on fire today. Just haven't posted it yet? No worries. I'm looking forward to seeing it, Sarah. In whichever form it takes. A lot of dry brushing for this first coat. There we go. Lizzie, we've got a landscape here actually. And this one here was given to us by a fan. This landscape is from Joey, or better known as JEC Hunter. Joey posts some fantastic landscapes on his Instagram and TikTok. And today, we have the privilege of turning one into paint. So, to start with, you'll see here, this is the horizon line. And making the horizon line happen, there's a whole cluster of these beautiful tall trees. So thick at the base that it's going to look like a strong black line going across the screen. Having fun too. Good. Thanks, Jamie. So, what we'll do is we'll represent those trees. Now, after we put these in here, that's when our washes come in. When I say washes, I mean the parts that'll go underneath this black. But I want the black to lock it into position first and foremost. Without the black, it's all over the show. Is this my bread and butter? I'm not typically a landscape guy, to be honest. I've become one in the last sort of 4 or 5 years, but portraits and paintings with movement and water in them, they're typically my bread and butter. I love movement, but that doesn't mean you can't capture movement in a landscape. It's nature, and it's your own interpretation. So you've got the ability to see and create nature, movement in nature, wherever you see fit. Ah, good cup. Good cup. Oh, you mean painting in general? Yes, it is. Painting is my bread and butter. Painting's what I do. Painting's what I love. Depending on who's looking at it, painting's what I'm good at. And that's the subjective part of painting. Sometimes you'll see things you love, and sometimes people will hate your work. Hey Patricia. Crazy Uncle, welcome back. And thank you very much for the shooting stars. I'm before Victoria today. You are, Lizzie. You're one of the first. And I reckon that's pretty impressive. So I'm pretty excited. So now there's a few more people here. I should give some context of what's happening here. This is spontaneous. I've been talking to JEC about this one for a long time, and I've decided to surprise him with it. He's got no idea that we're making it today. But the wild card was, I have got a few commissions in the pipeline. I've got, there's a portrait of 3 parrots, which has been worked on. There's a photo of a wedding dress, which is coming up. There's a amazing picture. It's going to be a surprise for now, because there's a few more little things to tweak in it, but it's going to be this beautiful, beautiful. I want you to imagine an on-earth rendition of the Garden of Eden, or something just truly phenomenal with flowers and beauty and green vibrancy. And there's going to be life in it, but we're going to leave that to be a surprise at this stage. But there's a couple of works coming. Now, I had a canvas or 2 built, and in recent times I've come into the possession of, or I've come across some new timber. So today was going to be the first day that we started without the, sorry guys, just hit that time lapse started there. Today was going to be the first day we started, but with this new timber coming in, I thought, no, we're going to wait. We're going to get the new timber, we're going to put it into these new frames, and we're going to use a different kind of canvas. It's raw canvas. So we're going to prime it ourselves. I'll show you how that's done. And so it's New Zealand timber, it's ash, it's the timber that it is, and it's unprimed canvas, and they are going to be with me in the next sort of 48 hours completed, and then we've got some exciting stuff on the way. So this is the in-between thing that we'll do right now. Is it just going to him, or just be made from his picture? Made from his picture, made from his picture. So it's quite exciting though, because there's a lot of beauty in landscapes. I love doing landscapes. Like I was saying before, the ability to capture movement, it's just a thrill. And so I'm also sorry too, guys. I was supposed to be live these last 2 days, but I disappeared on you, which was rude. I gave you a an 8-hour set, and then I ran for the hills. Why did I do that? Hope you're doing well and had enough rest. Have a magical morning. Thanks, Sam. Appreciate that. So, in terms of the last few days, I've been hard out sorting out not only a few surfaces for these commissions coming up, because I had this last minute inspiration to swap what they're made out of, but also I'm working on the online gallery, which is coming together in the most phenomenal of ways. I want to get that up sooner rather than later. There's 55 works currently in the last 8 months to put on the walls of the gallery. And they all need, thanks Ebru, appreciate that, they all need all the details in there. So when I say all the details, I mean there's information. What are they made out of? What's the canvas made out of? What was the inspiration? What year was it made? All these little facts and figures, its exact measurements and things. Otherwise, when you go into this gallery, it's got to be as real as possible. You walk into this gallery, and if you're a little person walking around the gallery in this virtual space, the artwork has to match, be exactly to scale and what it should be in the actual room. And there's some huge differences within the artwork. Some pieces are about this big in real life, and some pieces are literally the size of this whole wall behind me in real life. So that's fun to capture that. Victoria, you absolute wildcat. New profile picture. Like your style. There we go. How does unprimed timber affect the brush or paint? That's a good question. Unprimed timber has a dramatic impact. It'll suck all the liquid from the paint and arguably some of the pigment. So to avoid that being as extreme, you can use oils, which originally were the harder time sucking into the oils, into the wood. It'll sit there better, but over time it'll still leach into it. Your other option is to prime it. I'd always encourage priming it. And what this one's been primed with, that's the special thing, is clear gesso. Now, I'm a huge fan of clear gesso because clear gesso has the effect of making it look like it hasn't been primed. If I painted on wood before, oh, do you believe in painting hardwood floors? Look, when it comes to wood, I think as much of that real element to it you can keep as possible, you should keep. I wouldn't ever try and hide any of it. You can, it depends on the house, but I'm a traditionalist. I like the old school things. I think there's something special in there. Like, what's the stuff? I've got a soft spot for a cork floor. That's the, you don't see those around much anymore, but I'm a fan of those. Let's get this up here, there we go. Up you come. Thanks, Jackson. It's a little bit wild, but it's all right. Cut a little bit of this off, actually. There we go. Get that clump of texture off it. Just gonna give it more bracing up there to hold it in place. It's just swaying a little bit as I add on layer after layer. I'm scared of selling art online because I think people might be scammers. Well, you've got plenty of options. You can sell it yourself through your website, or use Artsy, one of those other platforms, and they can handle the challenges like that for you. Those are okay solutions. You don't have to take all that risk yourself. Million and one ways to it. Million and one ways to do it. There we go, beauty. Exhibitions. I was just talking about that. There's people here from all over the world, and so one of the keys, sorry guys, just going up belt notch. One of the keys to allowing everyone to be part of an exhibition is us going to make it virtual. I've done little exhibitions here in New Zealand, but it's not fair on the people in Singapore and America and India and wherever else we're all joining from. If we have the ability to be part of the exhibition from wherever we are, that's a better solution in my mind. Your name is Notification. Very clever. Right, let's get this in here. So you'll see that we've got those blacks in there, and although the blues go over the top of them, they don't remove them. That's that transparency. We just want to get a bit up in the sky here too. The starting of this painting, thanks Hebrew, is fairly basic. You could almost go ahead and say it's paint by numbers. Could you? Dare I say that? No, surely not. There's an element to it which could be paint by numbers. But the moment you hear the term paint by numbers, run. Because although paint by numbers can be beautiful, it's anti-human. Anti-human in the way that it doesn't care whether it's you doing it or a machine. And real art, authentic art, it'll care about it being you. So random, but how do you think social media has affected your art and its reach? I don't think social media is for everyone. I like being on here because it's like a surprise. It's almost like you're scrolling down your phone and you can run into something real, honest and very wholesome. But bear in mind, this isn't for everyone. This was terrifying for me. This was gut-wrenchingly horrifying to start. To welcome in not just a group of people, but anyone in the whole world into your process. This is terrifying. And it took a lot of getting over to not actually have smoke and mirrors out in front of you, that people see a pristine version of yourself. What's the real you? How do you actually look? How do you actually behave? If you're going to be there in front of people for 8 hours, whatever smoke, whatever mirrors, whatever challenges you put out there, they will crumble and they will fall before. I can actually zoom you in a little bit here on this painting, I reckon. Let's bring you in a little bit closer there. There we go, beauty. They will crumble. Thanks, Mike, you absolute champion. Victoria, this is not a commission. This is a piece for JEC Hunter, and when we did the portrait for you of your bias a while back, this one here is for him. Do I like pointism? I like all the movements. But I don't think you want to get hung up on those or craft your own style around one of those. Pointless. How do you prevent colours from smudging when you go over the black? That's a great question. A couple of ways to do it. My favourite method is fast drying gels in the paint. If you want to do one layer and walk away and another layer and walk away, you can keep doing that. But if you want to paint non-stop on a painting with your inspiration and pull the subject matter out of it, you need to do that in a single set as much as you can. You can't have paint drying affecting when the inspiration strikes. So, fast dry mediums in the paint. In this case, I'm using clear painting medium, a gloss medium, and a binder medium, which speeds up the drying time while also keeping the gloss and the pigment in the paint. What does that mean? Don't worry about it all that much. Just go into the local art store and ask for fast drying stuff. We did, Lizzie. It was actually super fun. I woke up so ready to go. I was thinking the next day, I was like, I'm going to get back on there. Not only do I not have 8 hours in me, I've got 10 in me today. Let's send it. But the issue came in, Lizzie. The issue came in that I decided to do some last minute changes on some surfaces. Thanks, crazy gay uncle. You absolute champion. I appreciate that. It should have been longer. It should have honestly been longer. But look, I disappeared. I spent about 10 hours. 10 hours sorting out the 10 hours sorting out the online gallery, because I want you guys to see that. I want everyone to be a part of it. And the way it's going, I reckon, if I put my effort down tonight and I sit up late and maybe I push it a little bit past 12, maybe chuck something on Netflix, just keep inputting data, we'll get that online exhibition up. I want you guys to be able to walk through it and enjoy it and see it. Thanks, Eru, you absolute champion. I want you guys to be a part of it, be able to walk through it, be able to see it, and there's a lot of artwork there which hasn't seen the light of day, but you'll see it in the exhibition. And plus, it's a really fun place for me to put up artwork that's more raw and silly, and I say silly, but more less what goes on to social media. Social media loves a polished product. That's part of what's funny about this too. We start from scratch, but there's stuff that's very wild and crazy and paints everywhere, and they're quite fun to show in that space. Alrighty tighty. A little bit of water count here. I'm just going to change the background music. I feel like I'm in Chariots of Fire at the moment. What-a-ta! There we go. Let's see how this goes. That's all violin. We can skip that. Not that I don't love violin, just not in the mood for it right now. Jeepers, I'm missing out on cowboy hats. Back on my head. Hey, Lily. And thanks, Crazy Uncle, you absolute champion. Ooh, there we go. How am I? I'm absolutely fantastic. We've got a very exciting picture to be made here. It's a landscape. And if I have time, I've got two other fun ones that I'm looking at doing. So, a painting from every art movement. You, sir, are going to be busy. Very busy. Sorry, Lizzie, but I got caught up answering your question there. So, I don't believe social media is for everyone. It took a couple of years back now, to get the confidence to stand in front of people and welcome them into not only the process, but behind the curtain on me, to see me behind the screen and to be a part of that with me. It's terrifying. What's happening with that? Thanks, Crazy Uncle. Appreciate the shooting stars. But for people to see behind that curtain and see me, that was terrifying. Social media, I made a pact with myself before I got onto it. I knew you could change and try and cater for people or become someone that you thought everyone wanted to see. And I was terrified of doing that. Crazy Uncle, you're an absolute legend. Thank you very much. I'll keep talking. I was absolutely terrified of the idea of going on social media and then becoming someone I wasn't to try and please people. And I thought that's the complete reverse of whatever purpose I went on there for. So I thought, as long as I can go on there and be me, the real authentic me, then come what may, we'll see what happens. Now, the community started to build, which is amazing. I love that to bits, I really do. But that exposure was terrifying at first. Where am I taking that thought? I'm taking that to the place where I think places like the farmers market, some people do amazing meeting each other in person and talking in person. Some people do amazing just displaying their work in a gallery and having someone else talk for them. Whoever you are and whatever your strengths are, you can play to those. But for me personally, I'm an open book. I've got to show you everything because everything shows you how the process actually begins, how it's made, what matters. If I didn't give you everything, then this would just be another picture on a wall. That's where the real connection comes from. Thanks, Lizzie. It's actually restricting movement a little bit. So if it gets a little bit niggly, we might swap it, but we'll see. The old classic, put it through the wash and then chuck it in the dryer fast to ruin it. Classic. And yes, if you want the Instagram, that's in the bio. Right. Now, next colour. It's going to be, here we go, Nephthol red through the blues. That's the plan. That's the plan. Down here we go. But yeah, I will say too though, it's been hard. There's been times when I've really felt like I wanted to change. It sounds bad, and you'd say, don't ever you do that, but change me to try and be something more or better for everyone as an artist. And that's when I've had to check myself and say, no. Be that weird, dorky, confused, stuttering, sometimes belligerent, unaware version of you, because if you're that, even if you think you could be better at something more, this will give other people permission to be them. I think that's what's important. Because there's enough polished rocks out there. I don't need to be polished. I don't think I do. Santiago, I'm doing fantastically. Sorry for bailing on you all for the last 48 hours, but trust me, it'll all be worth it. You'll love it. Here we go. Now, underlying this Arctic landscape, it's going to be these reds. Just a soft level of reds. Just a soft level of reds. There we go. Yeah. Thanks, crazy gay uncle. Look, it's it wasn't for everyone. I'll say that much. It was terrifying to and I still don't think I'm the whole way there. But yeah. It's so there you go, Victoria. It's so refreshingly different on social media when you do run into someone who's got no smoke and mirrors up. I think we feel that. I think we can see that. And in fact, I'm fairly confident that if we got into it and looked at the performance of different content, blah, 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 if you went into that and actually looked at it, you'd probably find that the things that perform better, not just probably, I'm sure you'd find the things that perform better was where I was being more myself and there was less things in the way of you seeing who that was. And make no mistake, if you watch those reels and wonder why I'm dancing all the time, that's a legit thing. Movement's important in a painting. If you don't have movement, you get quite lethargic. And that comes off in the artwork. You need movement on the 2D surface. In science, they say your observation, just that, will always be, by necessity, change the experiment. Yes, it will. And I try so hard to cling, because social media does change, if I'm understanding what you're saying correctly, does change the way you actually behave and then interact with social media. And then a comment came in there from Lizzie, and I agree with this 100%. There was, you put in less effort. Perfect. The real you doesn't take effort. So if you're sitting there doing a video and you're like, hey, here's 5 hot tips, here's this, here's that, and you're doing take after take after take, and then after you've done that, you're editing and editing for hours and hours, you're you're polishing something. It's not the real you, and you know what? They're gonna find out. Or worse, you're gonna be making this facade of someone you're not, and that's just another barrier you need to break down before the real you can really start to just grow. It sounds so cheesy. Yeah, intention. I was given some fantastic advice from someone that I love to bits in Mexico. And he told me, when I was first starting out on my painting journey, he said to me, whatever you do, lead with intention. Lead with intention first. And so he says, what do you want? And then make sure everything you do and post and put out there leads with intention. And that's been as important for the stuff that I did post to the stuff that I looked at and said, nah, that's not me. That's not me. That's what I think people want to see from me, or a version of me, which actually it's fake. It's not. I don't want that. Even if it does well, I don't want to put that out there in the world. I want to, lead with intention. That's it. That is exactly what he said, Crazy Guy Uncle. I love that. I had a TikTok to get 28k views, and I made it in 2 minutes. Yeah. I had a, that's what happens. You know what? Because you were real. You were raw. I think I had a Instagram reel. I try not to look at the stuff because it can distract you. It can confuse you in a whole bunch of different ways. But I had an Instagram reel go to 3 or 4 million, and I made it in 10 minutes. Like it was a fiery piece of work. I had someone saying, we need to go now, and I said, oh, give me 10 minutes, I'll get this done. And so I went in there and I started this reel, and I only had a few colours of paint, and I slashed around what I could, and then in the car, on the 5-minute journey to where we were going, I was just editing it quickly, 1 clip, 2 clip, 3 clip, 4 clip, done, post. And it was all on. This is you. Thanks, Santiago, appreciate that. As long as I can remember to do it. The key to this all, though, is that at a fundamental level, once you remove all the smoke, all the mirrors, all the things that get in the way, all the bits and the bobs and the obstacles. Since I was born, since I could hold a paintbrush, since I could produce art, this is what I loved. And yeah, I did get sidetracked. I did. There was a point in my life where I thought I was going to be a rock scientist or a dinosaur scientist. I was 5 at the time. But overall, for the majority of the trajectory, all I wanted to do was be an artist. And I'd look at Van Gogh and Picasso and Monet, and not them as a person, but what they made. And I felt this hunger. When you look at Monet's sunsets and straw fields and things like this, I would just hunger. Hunger is the word I'd use for it. Are you interested in any of the Women's World Cup in your country standing today? That's an interesting question. Yes, because I love the fact that it's in New Zealand. I love the fact that we're getting out there and playing some sport. I love the fact other people enjoy it. Is it my exact cup of tea? Not so much. Do I support it because getting out there and having some fun's fantastic and everyone else enjoys it? Yeah, I'm on board. I'm not going to watch it. Oh, wait. No, if I have to dash early, it's because I think I do have to go watch it. We'll see. The Kiwi woman won today. Go Kiwis. I love that. I think when it comes to sport though, I can get behind a whole bunch of them. Scrolled away and it's only showing 13. I'm not following Mike. I'm not following. I need a little bit of, this is the one. There we go. Just going to lighten that colour up a wee bit. Into the sky. There we go. That's the shade. Go Kiwis. Simon, with some clever devices. Back when we first started streaming, Victoria will remember these days, I would forget about the camera and then just get so caught up in what I was doing. And otherwise I'd overthink it and keep checking backwards and forwards like this the whole time. So we took some steps, and I now have the camera linked separately to the comments. So I can read the comments as I'm painting, and then I can read the camera, talk directly to the camera. That's the trick. Thanks, Victoria. Look, I'm actually, don't get the wrong idea. It's not like one of those things like be you, ignore everyone else. That's not the philosophy. The philosophy here is I am a people pleaser. I'll do anything to make people happy. But you should do anything to make people happy. You shouldn't become anyone to make people happy. There's a big difference there. Yeah, but I'll do anything. You want a cup of coffee? You want me to be the sober driver tonight? You want to watch that movie? You want to go there for holiday? You want whatever? I'll do anything, but don't be anyone. Sorry, pardon me. No, you're right, Victoria. But do you see the subtle difference we're pointing at there? Hey, Kristen, how you doing? There's a very subtle difference. Red, you're live. I am live. And you are live. And you get a choice every single moment of what you're going to do with that. Here we go. Just perfect. Thanks, Red. I appreciate that. It actually lights up my own day, knowing that I can come here, literally do what makes me happy, apply paint to surfaces, and make other people happy. That's pretty special. It's pretty special. I'm good. I think we ask a lot what inspires artists. Now, I was talking about this last time on the live. I think it's the wrong question. I think we should rephrase it. What motivates artists? Why do artists do what they do? Why don't they just not paint? How is it that some artists have the motivation to paint and others don't? I think inspiration comes... I don't think inspiration is the thing that drives you to pick up a paintbrush. I think motivation does. I'm motivated because I think that actually, I haven't seen any studies on this, I don't know if this is true, but I believe we can feel something from paintings. I believe that a painting on a 2D surface, or craft of any kind, art, I believe you can look at it and it can change the way you feel. And if it can do that, or if you have the potential to make something that can do that, then you've got a responsibility to make it. And through those 2D crafts, 2D arts, 2D anything, you, in your own small way, or in a big way, can make the world a better place. One 2D service at a time to make someone else happier. If you ever do a fox, I'll keep that in mind. Now, just here. There we go. Just adding a mood into that texture. There we go. Congrats on the new place. Yeah, congratulations, Cheryl. That's exciting. I hope it's everything you want it to be. 3 times in the last 3 years. You'd be getting pretty good at it by now. There we go. Beautiful. Ramona. These are actually very comfy shoes to paint in, so we keep them on. But, I have been getting told that a lot of outside painting should be barefoot for the sake of grounding, I hear. But, a lot of the time I'm in the middle of nowhere in nature, so so there's not really the opportunity not to wear gumboots, Kiwi style gumboots. Can you auto-like? That's pretty exciting. Didn't realise that was a thing, Dom. Hello, Diamond. Well, welcome back. Here we go. Here we go. I might twist this around just a little bit. There we go. Beautiful. There's the angle. There's the angle. Right. I'm going to splash across in here into just some subtle greens. He's going to grab the tops of these trees. There we go. There we are. Hello, Anthony. My day has been good. It's getting better too. The women's team won the soccer. And I've got the most fantastic canvases. Probably, I don't want to say New Zealand right now. I've got some of the best canvases coming my way. One of them's actually made from cedar, which is very exciting. Lightweight, very strong. Perfect. It's the sort of stuff they use in museums for the most amazing stuff. Thanks, Crazy Gay Uncle. You absolute champion. And then a couple of them are made from New Zealand ash. So they're all fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. So we've got some things in between. Yeah. So there's not actually a lot of green in this picture, but if we put it at the back, it'll make these trees look even more poppy. Beautiful. Hey, you put that dog out, crazy guy uncle, and you catch and shut eye. If you ever want to catch one too, and you missed the live, you can find them on YouTube as well. So you won't miss out. There'll always be more. Look after the dog though. Big fan of that. The only pity about this house that I'm in now is I couldn't bring the golden retriever with me. Barnaby would be perfect, hanging out in here with me. He'd just be the coolest dog. Yes, indeed you will. You will, because there is... I'm picking up 5 canvases today. 5 canvases. Yeah, so we've got a lot of work to be doing tomorrow. We're into it. Have I ever done... No, I haven't, BGB. I'm an artist. Art's what I do. Art's what I dream about. When I go to sleep at night, I think about paintings. When I wake up, I think about paintings. In fact, that's a lie. One time, I thought about being a sculptor. But no, I'm a painter. Paint is my gig. I love paint. I love liquid colour and tubes. I love using a plate and a rudimentary tool like a paintbrush to apply it to a 2D surface. I love it so much that when I first started painting, or when I started painting down the South Island for a while, I didn't have endless canvases. And so what I did, get this, what I did was I'd actually get the work once I finished it, and I would paint over it in white. Just like on 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore, where they would paint over the shed each night and turn it white so she could paint it again. I did that on repeat. And so, there's actually a picture in New York that's been sold that belongs to an amazing lady. It's in her private home. And the work itself, unbeknownst to her, has 15 works in it. If you peeled back the layers, one after another, you'd find all these paintings that I'd covered up. And the only reason it exists in her apartment now is because she said, I want that one. Give me that one. And so I stopped and gave that one to her, got a new canvas, and kept covering them up as I went. It sounds like horror when you say that. You're like, the work doesn't exist? How could you? Like that. Forget it. It's like Titanic, where Rose dropped the necklace over the edge of the boat to show the guy who was with her great-granddaughter, or granddaughter, whichever one it was, that it's not about the value of it or the final product. It's about the experiences and about the journey you go on. I missed it up there a little bit. Cool. Absolutely. It should actually be through to you, crazy gay uncle. You should be sorted. But let me know if you can't find it. And look after that dog. I will see you tomorrow. Yeah, so don't ever think if the painting doesn't survive that the whole process was irrelevant, because the process actually was the only part that was relevant. And you'd have to ask, and I say this a lot, how many painters, how many artists would still be artists if the end product ceased to exist the moment you finished? So you're making a piece of art, and the moment you've finished it, it disappears, and you start again. A lot of artists would stop, because they're only making that product to get what it can become. But some artists are going to keep doing it, because they're there because it's got nothing to do with what comes out at the end. That's a nice piece of evidence that the process happened, that something occurred, but it's not the reason for starting. I'm loving this one. This is very fun. This is exactly the colour we want. Here we go. Australian. No, we're a Kiwi. But close enough. Close enough. Kiwi, like where the women's soccer is currently being held. Here we go. Just through here, down through here. And then out through here. Now we're going to splice that green with a bit of white. So instead of focusing on the product, you just enjoy the process over and over. It's exactly correct. Now, there's a great saying. I didn't make it up, but it's a great saying. It talks about a lot of the time we get hung up with wondering how we're going to use art to make money. It's the wrong way around. If you want to make money, go to school, become a lawyer, and make lots and lots of money. But with art, you've got to wonder, how am I going to make money so I can make my art? The two things are usually exclusive. Monet, Van Gogh, they didn't make money while they were alive. Not for most of it. They just made art because they loved it. In my opinion, art is like a memory for me. Art has the ability to capture memories. Sometimes better than a camera. Sometimes. You're close. Monet has a O at the start. There we go. He only speaks English. I know, what a tragedy. What a tragedy. I can say, no hablo español. Lo siento. Of course I can. You're like, I thought I knew what was going on, and he started adding these wild, crazy lines. So there's our picture, and you'll see we're just adding in these highlights in the bottom there to grab that snow. That's where the red's coming from. Bring it back here for a moment. So the sky's actually not far off it, but it needs far more layering before we call it finished. And these hills, these mounds of snow will start coming in here. We don't go from black to lighter shades to finish off with the light ones. We go wherever we want to go. There's no paint by numbers process here. We started with black because I wanted to. But before we're finished, we'll go back to black. And before we go back to black, we'll have an affair with this blue colour a couple of times before this painting's finished. As we layer it, one colour after the next. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Fantastic. That's good, because I've got a little secret for you, crazy uncle. Your picture, our work, that's the one my cedar frame is for. So I came into possession of a bunch of New Zealand ash timber and then a bunch of cedar timber. And there was only just enough cedar timber to make one large canvas, and the rest of it would be made with New Zealand ash. Now I love the New Zealand ash, but there wasn't enough cedar to do the rest of the frames. So I've got one big cedar canvas on raw canvas, and that has got a special home. That's going to be doing a phenomenal garden for us. I cannot wait. Been using Photoshop, slowly editing in one flower at a time. I hope JEC pops in as well. I hope JEC sees this one. Maybe there's a chance you'll recognise it. There we go. He's going to be working on it in multiple sessions, so follow set and stay tuned. Thanks, Victoria. Oh yeah. And I think what's really fun is, aside from it going on YouTube, most of what we do just happens live. I edit some reels, guys. I make some. We have fun. Let's be honest. We have fun. We do some dancing. I get the occasional bit of inspiration that I feel like might help other people, so I say it directly to the camera. But on the whole, the lives are where it's at. This is where it's real. This is where there's no fancy cuts, no fancy creations. This is where it's just literally pixels between me and you. That's real. Thanks, crazy uncle. Pearl. That's the first time I've seen a pearl. That's interesting. Yeah, this is a wild shirt. And again, op shop. Op shop. You don't know what an op shop is? It stands for opportunity. Go to a second-hand shop, get yourself some clothes that fit you, and dress the part for painting. Don't, whatever you do, do not paint in sweatpants and a stained singlet. No. If you dress like that, your paintings will reflect that. Dress the way you want your paintings to be. Dress snappy, paint snappy. Paint isn't ending up all over the floor. I'm dressed in a way that I want to control the paint. Everything through here is tidy. So that way the chaos can go onto here. That's part of my control that I need. No matter what, in your brain, you're going to vie for control. And they say, and I say things like, give up on the control, man, relax. Yeah, I can say that, but your brain's going to want it. It's going to fight for it. It's going to look for places where it can get it. And it's going to do it on the artwork unless you find somewhere else to have that outlet. So I put control everywhere else. Control in the paint on me. Control where the paint goes on the plate. Control in how it goes on the floor. Control everywhere. So I can satisfy that need and that desire. And put chaos on here. Right. Let's put that down. I'm going to swap the brush over. Smaller brush. And we're going to go back to our blacks for a little bit. Now that we've put these other colours on here, we can cut in more gently with these blacks. A little bit in here. Clean brush strokes. Brush strokes that ignore everything around them in an attempt to represent all that they believe matters. As soon as you let the rest of the painting manipulate a brush stroke, tell the brushstroke what it should be, it won't have a life of its own. It'll cease. Become a little bit of craft, and a bigger part of an image. But if every brushstroke has its own little bit of energy, its own little bit of passion, then you can get lost in an image. That's when you get lost. You wonder, how do I make a painting where someone gets lost in the image? When every brushstroke you apply is worth looking at, and put on with intention and passion, that's when someone can look at an image and get lost in it. Then and only then. Black Bunny, welcome in. Have you ever messed up a painting and how do you fix it? All the time. I've messed up this one already. That was the wrong stroke there. In fact, there was 2 incorrect strokes in a row. That was too thick there as well. It's 3 in a row that are incorrect. That's in the right place. That was good. The way you deal with mistakes is to not focus on them. Don't suddenly bend all your behaviour around them, scrutinising over them, beating yourself up about the mistake. If you do this, not only will the mistake be there, but every stroke around it will just be another acknowledgement of how bad the mistake was, embellishing the mistake to take over more of the painting than it deserves. if you want to fix a mistake, do 100 not mistakes. Ignore that mistake. Acknowledge it, but ignore it. So the brushstrokes around it can be pure and undeterred. Sounds cheesy, but think about that in life. How often do we do something wrong that we then sit down and say to ourselves, that was wrong, you're an idiot, that was wrong. And then all of a sudden, you're too afraid to make another move because you're so caught up over the idea of maybe making another mistake, maybe beating yourself up about it again. Whereas the ones who have true confidence, the winners, the ones who don't actually get caught up on those things, accept the mistake. I made a mistake. And they move on. And then the mistake's fixed by being diluted by things that weren't mistakes. A painting is no different. No different. And there's a couple of paintings that are my favourite, where I can look at them, and there's this brush stroke that misses. It's off to the side. It's not part of the work, or it's like a bird will have a nose that's clearly defined, and there's a stroke a little bit higher off to the right, about half an inch off. And it fits. For some reason, it fits in the painting, and we enjoy it. But that was when I first started, and my stroke of where the beak was supposed to go was actually off. It was confused, it was incorrect. But by not having to work with that, and choosing a new location, and ignoring where I put the last stroke, this beautiful little wisp that missed the beak by half an inch, and was off to the side, is a part of the painting, it's part of its overall beauty, but I can see that was a misplay, that was a mistake, that was, now it's part of the beauty of this piece. If you remove that mistake, if you removed it, the painting would be less for it. In that same way, you're no different. Sit there and think at night, wondering about all the things you've done wrong, all the things you could have done differently, all the things you could have said, places you could have been, people you could have been with, and the way you could have gone about it. You beat yourself up. How often do you sit there and think to yourself, you know what? I'm going to go in a good direction. I'm going to acknowledge that, but I'm also going to ignore all that. And then when I get to where I'm going, when I get to the destination that I want to get to, I'll look back on all that and say that's not stuff I want to hide and get rid of. That's me. That's part of my journey. It's part of my prize. It's part of my product. Prize. Part of my product. You're starting to paint again tomorrow. Chris, that's fantastic. Get into it. And whatever you do, if you're just getting back into it, don't you dare beat yourself up. You walk out of that painting session or walk into it with one focus. I'm going to have fun. This is for me. I'm going to walk out of this more fulfilled, with more enjoyment, because this is what I did. And if you can't do that, before you even start, plan. Plan to paint over it. Teach your mind subconsciously that it's got nothing to do with what the end result is. It's all to do with you and how you feel. I'd be great for children. Yeah, that's fair enough. I used to go to summer camp as a counsellor, and the age group I got was the 7 to 10 year olds. I wouldn't change that for the world. I did the older kids later on, but I really, really enjoyed just the life and the curiosity of a child who's 8 years old. The way they think and the way their personalities are developing, and the way, actually, for a lot of kids, sometimes it's sad to see, but the way they're unashamed about who they are and their personality. It seems to happen in adolescence to all of us. we learn to be somewhat embarrassed about the person we are, or we get this predisposition of a funnel we think we should fit into. This is dangerous. There's no such thing. A secondary school teacher. Yeah. Yeah. That's such an important time too. A secondary school teacher of something creative. Right when you're dealing with kids who are starting to feel like creativity should fit into certain boxes. That was me. I didn't believe that I didn't believe that the best version of me would be the personality that I had in high school. I thought that if I changed, became cooler, did this, did that. I was confused. I could have used a good tutor. Someone who would say, no, that's pretty fun. I like this whole dork. I like this geek. I like this quirky person. Run with that, you know. Where was that person? Secondary school is from 13 years old to, help me out here, 13 to 18? 13 to 18, I think. That's the time. Alright. We're going to pause on there with the blacks. I'm just going to keep building up bit by bit on those blacks. The kids in your area are lost. It's okay. It's interesting that you use the word lost. You say lost as in, you didn't use the word gone or impossible, you said lost. Which means they can be found. Not being cheesy here, it means they can be found. I don't want the stress. Yeah. It's a good reason. But at the same time, when you were a kid, there was someone who could have helped you a whole lot. Who thought about it. Who could have given you that good piece of advice. Could have had your back when you needed it. Taught you things that you'd like to have known. And they probably said the same thing. I don't want the stress. And sometimes when you look through that lens, you suddenly think, you know what? I wish someone had looked at me and said, I want the stress. You'll probably never repay it. But I got you. Hey Richie Rich. Do you wash the plates? Yes I do. Don't do it in the dishwasher. I don't know if you can or can't do that. But I suggest not doing it in the dishwasher. I recommend washing them by hand, and then with any leftover speckles on them, that can go through the dishwasher. But don't throw the whole plate through, please. Not all those thick binding mediums on it and things like that. We only stand to do something quite silly there. There we go. Now we're into this purple. Is this the exact colour that we want for this? We'll find some places for it to go. There we go. Just toning back the intensity of some of those hills. A plate full of acrylic, no it cannot. There are any specific colours you always use. There is only because I run the same colours. So I run Thanks, Dylan. I run, how many pigments? I think I'm running 38 pigments at the moment. 38 pigments on these paintings means that I fall on those same 38 pigments each time, but I've been thinking about increasing the amount. But in terms of a simple colour, primary or secondary, saying, oh, he always likes this colour, not really. You could say he uses a lot of pink and purple. That's because I see a lot of pink and purple. He uses a lot of red. He uses a lot of blue and red and yellow. He does. It's because I see a lot of blue, red and yellow. You say, well, that means you like those colours. Well, that's every colour. There's no colours left. If you talk about primaries and secondaries, you've only got blue, red, yellow, and then you've only got orange, purple, green. Once you're using all those, we're just talking about pigmentation and hues. I like the blue you painted over. I hope you use that colour again. Absolutely. We'll use all these colours again. The beauty in a painting like this comes through its layering. It's the overlapping attempts to depict something that make beauty in these paintings. That's where you can lose yourself in them. What's that there? Do you have a subconscious preference for certain colours? Well, I wouldn't be consciously aware of it. But yeah, I reckon I do. I probably tilt more towards blue and red than yellow. If you had a colour wheel and you had yellow, blue and red, I probably tilt straight through the middle of blue and red. But that doesn't mean I love purple. I love scarlet and I love aquamarine blue, which are like the two primary of primary. And then everything in between, all those different hues in between. So purple's fun. Vermilion is about as orange as I like to get. Orange is a great colour, but I really, really like the intensity of vermilion. I feel like orange. Yeah, I probably do something funny where I don't actually use orange. I go for, it feels artificial sometimes. I go for Joanne Brilliant, which is like a more of a tan colour. I'll show you that up close. So I fall to each side of orange. Here we go. Joanne Brilliant and Vermilion. So you can see there, somewhere in between there is usually some sort of pigmentation of orange. And I've sort of jumped way too red on one side and way too tan on another. And that's where I like to go with my oranges. But that's just me. You don't need to copy that. Don't even think about that, actually. Whenever someone's like, oh, this is how you do a painting, don't use black that much, do it like this. Don't do that, do it like this. You want to do that Frank Sinatra song? Come on, I did it my way. Because the moment you start putting rules on creativity, or being told that there's rules, you can put your own rules on creativity, of course. Once you're told that this is a rule that never gets broken, that's a red flag. That's like, that was the paint, by the way. That's similar to Star Wars. Is it Return of the Sith? Revenge of the Sith? When Obi-Wan Kenobi says to Anakin, no, Anakin says to Obi-Wan Kenobi, if you're not with me, you're against me. And then Obi-Wan says back, and correctly so, hold on one second. Correctly so, he says back, only a Sith deals in absolutes. Which is basically a nerd's way of saying, that's a red flag. And it is. It is a red flag. If the teacher's any good, their response is usually their response will be something along the lines of, give it a go. Tell me how it went for you. even if they know that it might not work the way you want it to, you doing it, you're going to get something out of that lesson just trying. You got to encourage that. Here we go. It's probably just a little bit intense. There we go. Let's tone that back a wee bit. Just a wee bit. There we go. Hello, Max. How you doing? Welcome back. There we go. Just removing a few rogue bristles. I'm a Star Wars boy though. I see the novelty of Star Trek. Obviously there's more of it, more to fall in love with. I get that. Is it deeper? Maybe. But I think Star Wars is far more, is it? I found it far more quotable, and the philosophies in it. I always like Lucas's description of it, that Star Wars was never about the Jedi, or good versus evil. It was a tragedy. It was a play. In Star Wars, its entirety is about the tragedy of Vader. And it is a tragedy that someone could love so deeply, but that love would be their own destruction and the destruction of many, many others. Sometimes see Darth Vader as an evil person, and he was, but he's also one of the good guys, just in immense, inexplicable pain. Since you're in New Zealand, do you know the show The Tribe? Loved it as a kid. I haven't heard of it. Haven't heard of it. Hey Freeze, how you doing? More evolved to, oh yeah. Here we go. I'm going to get a little bit wacky with the sky here. Don't be afraid to add in some textures. Do I know neighbours? I do. That's when, what's the song? That's when good neighbours become good friends. I never really watched it. But, that's a New Zealand show, isn't it? Here we go. Across the sky, big and strong. See that line there? And then we're going to go into it like this. All the way across. Beautiful. Yes. Blend that just a little bit more. There we go. Exactly how I want it. But not at all lying about being a paintbrush. There we go. I'll sneak that in there. Grew up in the UK, sorry, I'm from Fiji, I'm from Fiji but grew up on Fiji. A lot of shows, yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. There we go. Thanks, Clover. Are you good making socials? Is that like good at communicating? I hope so. What do you mean good at social media? I don't think so at all. I sort of tried for a while and then gave up on trying to figure out what was cool. An illustration. I didn't fine arts through school. It's alright. You did it through school. It's pretty special. There we go. Big, bold brush strokes. Where else are we going to put some paint? Spread it out just a little bit more. Again, this isn't paint by numbers. This is wild. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you. We're prioritising no colour, no pigment. No nothing. Just trying to gently and slowly represent this painting. And we'll keep going until the paint gets too thick. There is a point where the paint goes on too thick that we do have to pause. We're not there yet. I'm just warning you, that point does exist. I mean, having lots of friends and stuff. I've got some wonderful friends. I've been incredibly lucky to have incredible people in my life. In terms of friends though, do you mean, have you got hundreds of friends? Or have you got a few really, really good friends? Because I like the latter. I've got the latter and I like the latter. Hello from Green Bay, Vicky. Welcome. I'm not in love with this painting. It's early. It's a work of endurance. I think the problem that you run into, Chris, I've had you here a few times. The problem we run into is that a painting is much more like a caterpillar. Once it's a butterfly, everyone can see it, even you. And we love butterflies. But I need you as an artist to love caterpillars. I need you to enjoy them. And that's why an artist's job isn't to just fall in love with butterflies, but to actually learn how to love a process and enjoy a caterpillar. And I'm afraid that if you get started with your own process, you'll look at it, whatever's made, and immediately judge it. It'll never be good enough because you'll be seeing what it could be. And as an artist, we need to enjoy making what it is. Oh, Max. How dare they? Look, Max, it happens. It happens. What I like to do, if you are going to go on a date, sometimes you will get stood up. But you know the fun thing you can do? Once you're out there at the restaurant, even if they don't show up, sometimes it can be a good thing. Sometimes you might be on a date that's so bad that you might wish that you were just at the restaurant by yourself. Regardless of the date comes or not, stay in that restaurant and have yourself some dinner. Have a drink. Laugh at some reels on your phone. Do your thing. Otherwise, yeah, come hang out here with me, Smacks. You're all good in this little space. We got you. Here we go. Let's put some of that in there. Beautiful. So now we're adding some Pacific blue over these landscapes. There we go. Perfect. Good on you, Max. And honestly, sometimes when you get stood up on a date, It's actually got nothing to do with you. Like, we can take it as a personal offence, like this person didn't want to hang out with us. We're the problem, you know. But actually, it may be more to the form, maybe more to the tune of they've got crippling anxiety. And they tried to battle it, and then they lost to it. And all of a sudden, they decided they can't go on this day, they just can't bring themselves to do it. And it's a pity, because that would manifest in a way that would make us think about it and think that this person doesn't even think I'm worth, you know, seeing. When actually, that person couldn't bring themselves out of bed on that particular night. For whatever reason. Have I learned to love different colours? Oh yeah. Understanding not only the effects colours can have, but your ability to apply them. This is something beautiful, and that'll change as it goes. Aha, Junior, I am not. But I've seen his new show. Paddy Gower has issues. Pretty funny. I'll go pick up the kids. Go do your thing. I'll catch you later. I'll catch you later. Alright, let's get some more in here. And then around here. You know what they say. It's interesting though. No Jay Smith. Ha! Ha ha ha! Cheers, Max. I believe that's a literal rendition of how it may have felt. And hello, Panna Coco Ellies. How we doing? Now, only getting here. Because this lowest part here, touching the horizon, has some of the same Pacific blue. Just getting down in between these trees. And you'll notice that we started off with so much dictation on what's what. And now we're sacrificing that in favour of expression. We can always bring back that reality of the situation, where the trees are, the ridge lines, the moon, the snow in the landscape. But that's not where the beauty comes from. The beauty comes from this little wild interpretation that we can form. What we think this picture could be. How a human mind can look at something and see something quite different from the photo. But then another human mind can look at what you've created and get the same feeling that that photo tried to give. That's when you know you're painting. When you both feel something. Oh, Chris. Chris. There we go. Beautiful. G'day, Pink. I saw you sneaking earlier, Pink. There we go. Arctic blue. Cut through with a little bit more in here. There we go. And now we need that tube of white paint, if I know where it went. Where are you, white? We might have to settle for some grey in the interim, which isn't the end of the world. We'll make it work. How many hours do I spend painting each day? Well, sausage, it chops and it changes. And the reason it chops and changes is that there's other things to do during the day. which sounds obvious, but I mean other things like sometimes you've got paintings to ship, to frame, to build canvases for. You've got clients that need to be, that need to talk about their work, that need to, to make sure we're on the same page for how we're going to make it, what matters, what doesn't. You've got galleries to speak to. You've got lots of stuff behind the scenes. A lot of the time, I was watching a YouTube video which really struck a chord with me. Really struck a chord. It was about being grateful, but the big thing about it was a lot of the time we can look at something like painting and be like, okay, I've got to spend a day in the studio. I've got to paint. I've got to do 9 hours of painting. It's time to crack in. Oh my God, here we go. Actually, once you're deep in it, once you're actually talking to all these different people, making paintings, talking to clients, developing a website, running off on all these things that aren't actually your craft, it's an absolute privilege to say today, or this hour, or this minute, I'm going to get to spend it in the studio. That's my plan. And that is exciting. Because sometimes going to the studio can sometimes seem like such a big ask. But when you realize that is the privilege, yeah, Pink, that's when you realize, silly question, now you've said all that. Sorry, Junior, I missed, sorry, Junior, yeah, got you covered. And hello, Nicole, how are you? I'm doing fantastic, Nicole. So, although sometimes there's these mental barriers that we have to climb over in order to prepare ourselves to paint, realize that every time you get to paint, this is a privilege. This is why you do what you do. I remember one time I was in a bit of a slouch. I was saying to Shelby that I'm just struggling a little bit. It's a lot like there's a lot going on. You've got an inbox full of things going on. You've got and you've got to paint, and you've got to do this, and you've got to meet this certain bar and finish these paintings by this day. And she just said to me quite matter-of-factly, she said, well, you chose this. This is your job. You're a painter. It sounds like the stuff that you're complaining about are all painter things. And that was like a wake-up call for me. It was like I did. I chose all of this. This is what I do. I am an artist. I'm complaining about being an artist. I chose this. This was my dream. Slap. Get on board with it. Do it right. So that happened. And hello, user, lots of numbers. And one more time, Jax, how you doing? How you doing? There we go. It's going to start dotting this grey hue of Arctic blue around through here. You'll notice a lot more of these strokes. Unintentionally horizontal. That's fun. There we go. Thanks one more time. It's a fun shirt. It won't be an all the time shirt. It's actually, if anything, give me a little bit of grief with movement, but that's okay. Thanks, Max. Dearie me. And there we go. Little bits of this steely colour. Beautiful. We start to get just a little bit more colour accuracy as we pull back that Arctic blue, replace it with just a little bit of grey. I like the one fun thing you'll start to notice that we're embellishing slowly as we go through these layers is you'll notice that the sky with its intense vermilion is reflected in the small parts of water that are starting to show up down here. So you'll see the icy banks, but then you'll see this area down here doesn't seem icy. It's as if water's going between the ice, which it is. And that's actually capturing reflections from this vermilion sky. Tripping over my words there a little bit. I think there's a few others, sausage surprise. I think there's a few others. But look, the more the merrier, because TikTok's a fantastic place, and live streams have the ability to share things with you, give you a mood, and look after you in the most wholesome of ways. I know all the streams on TikTok aren't all wholesome, but they could be. And social media could be a beautiful place of sharing, mood uplifting, and all the things that we'd like to see. There we go. And just down through here. Perfect. Now, I am going to disappear for a brief moment. I'm going to go to the bathroom, but I will be back. Audible sessions. Maybe one day. I'm going to put this on here. And I will see you shortly, guys. Coming back. 25 seconds. Too easy. Too easy. There we go. Brought a little snack for me. Let's keep me going. Calculated it well? Oh yeah. Quick bathroom break. Bananas, back. Great place to be. Can I speak with an American accent? Why would you want to hear me speak with an American accent? Why would you want that when there's so many other fantastic people who can do American accents so well? There we go. That through there. Hello, Molly Jr. Are there any other artists sharing the same space as you are? No. I have shared spaces with artists, but well, I like it. I think I prefer to touch base with artists. I've got lots of close friends who do art, and touch base with them, tell them where you're at, talk about challenges you're facing. Delicious potassium. This is correct, Sam. Other artists that you touch base with and talk to. but they aren't constantly in your space. It allows you to actually be far more vulnerable with them because you're not waking up the next day and sharing a space with them where they now know where your struggles are and how you're managing. Creative blocks you've got, struggles you're facing. If you're able to talk to them, nut it out with them, and then you can go back to your space. It's powerful. It's like a half-time pull-out. Are oils more complex to paint with than acrylics? They both come with challenges. They're both unique, they're both different, and there's no right answer. There's challenges that come with watercolours. You'd say acrylics are the easiest just to pull out of the tube and to start using. They are. But, that being said, there's lots of mediums you can add into acrylics to change them. The way they flow will change. The way they land on the canvas. Whereas oils, typically good to use with just a little bit of linseed oil, or poppy seed oil. You can just get started painting. There we go. Right. Let's pause on this one for a second. Oh, hello. I'm going to pause on this one for just a second. And while it dries, move on to a number 2. Take that out completely. There we go. Here we are. Hello, star, heart, degrees, dot, little swiggle, up arrow. Not the easiest name to pronounce, but I'm excited you're here. Here we go. Alrighty. I'll spin that ever so slightly too. There we go. I'm going to spin you guys around a little bit there. There we are. Then let's get this. Watch out for that, it's my time lapse team. There we go. Oh. Are you self-taught or have you worked? I am. I was trained in a whole bunch of different areas, and then, but the biggest teachings you can get are from your peers. They will be the people who really change you and develop you as a person. This would make me OCD with perfection. How do you deal with the process? I'll finish this off, and then I'll let you know. A little bit of water. Now, I'm not going to show you the reference picture for this one. We're just going to go with it. First person to spot it wins. First person to spot it wins. Here we go. Make sure it's concealed from you. Oh, I hope no one spotted that. There we go. There we go. I think we need to understand history about art, but the artist must have talent. I think believing an artist needs to have talent, or that talent would be essential before you could become an artist, probably stops a lot of artists from becoming artists. if you're hung up about perfection in the process, then it's likely that a good solution for you is actually to destroy the art the moment it's finished. Destroy it. And the reason I say that is because that'll start subconsciously training your brain not to value what's been made. I say not to value what's been made, but to take the value off the end result. You start to get so hung up about what you should be making. This needs to be perfect, this needs to be perfect. That you completely forget about the process. Imagine going on a date with someone who needed everything to be perfect so much that they'd never enjoyed a single moment outside of the house. They were just so busy, getting so caught up on everything that could have been better, that not a moment got appreciated. You spend time around a person like that, and the result is a process that could not, if it tried, be less perfect. Don't be that person. Settle for imperfect. Because in well-intended imperfection, you might find perfection. It's like we look at Starry, Starry Night and think, oh, look at Starry, Starry Night. It's perfect. How did Van Gogh do it perfectly? Because it's not perfect. The end result may be perfect, but every single stroke that got there was another imperfection, another mistake, another well-intentioned, another brushstroke with good intentions that actually is in slightly the wrong place, one after another. Jeepers! Just joined, what are we starting? Hello, Heather. I don't know. I'm not a ginger, don't know where that came from. And Joe Malloy takes it. It's an elephant. I've learnt now from completing my masters, it's not second guess something, just run with it. Yeah, I was talking to someone today actually about overthinking. They're like, oh, I overthink everything. And I said, overthinking's a good thing. Thinking about all the possible outcomes and considering them is a fantastic thing to do. And overthinking is a beautiful thing. In my mind, I do a lot of it. I overthink my breakfast in the morning. But rethinking, as in having the same thought on repeat and not progressing from it and allowing it to hold you back, that's bad. And when you second guess yourself, this non-stop, one second guess is good, non-stop, insistent second guessing with the replication of the same thing going through your brain, locking you in this little loop, this is bad. Don't allow that to happen. Get away from that. Joe Malloy is the winner. Yes. First intentions are always the right intentions. Like, first, wait, is that first intentions, or is it sometimes, or sometimes you can be so far on the wrong track that you don't even realize it. So don't be afraid to second guess yourself. But if you second guess yourself, consider well, and after you've considered, make a decision. Don't sit there hung up on thinking it, rethinking it, when actually, you just, not only are you not confirming your decision, you're not actually not disagreeing with it. You're stuck in this little paradoxical nothing zone. Overthinking, rethinking, blah. I like to think about every little thing. Every little possible constituent. Think about it all. Overthink to the max. So that when you find comfort in your thoughts, you'll know to the best of your ability, there are no wild cards coming your way. You thought of everything. Hey Kendall, how you doing? Alright, you can't progress. That's fine. Sounds like you need to start a painting on something cheap. Paper, board, whatever, or your craft. With cheap resource, don't put expense into it. Start it, and then destroy it when it's finished. Trust me, that subconscious understanding that actually it's all about how you're making it and how you feel while you're making it, because the result's not going to be there. It'll change the way you think dramatically. What are you mixing the paint with? I'm mixing it with some gloss medium and a little bit of clear painting medium. Just a few little bits and bobs. The reason why I mix it in is because it'll allow the paint to dry faster and hold more of a wet feel to it. Dry fast, look wet. That's what I'm after. I think there's more where creative blocks come from. Rethinking something. If you mean rethinking as in having the same thought over and over again, yes, 100%. And sometimes it's the most innocent of thoughts. It's not even thinking about the creativity of the process. It's something along the lines of, I must be great, I must be great, I must be great, I must paint today, I must paint today, I must paint today, I must paint. Boof. So once you finally get into the studio, you're so blocked up, having overthought every little part of the thing, that you need to be painting every day, that you need to be doing this, that you need to be doing that. So lost in it. There's no chance you can go into the studio and make magic happen. No trust in yourself to be able to make the painting. Sad day. Can't believe you guess elephants so fast. Here, let me get some brush strokes on the canvas. Here we go. We're making elephant. Here we go. Down the base there. Angel. Angel. Do me a favour, Angel. You should go easy on that caps lock. I feel like some days we get so good at it and then we take a turn. Alright. What would happen if everyone was a pianist? Everyone would have fun playing the piano, I think. I think we would all enjoy the sweet sound that everyone else was making. We would all be thrilled that we've all got such a musical talent. But if you did piano for pleasure, that shouldn't upset you. That should be the most beautiful thing, that now everyone can understand what you're doing. If everyone was a painter, painting would be far less terrifying, because everyone would understand what you were doing, the journey that you were on, and how you were going about it. If everyone being it stops you from doing it, you're probably doing it for the wrong reasons. Maybe. Maybe. Where is the other colour? I wish I had you go. Aha! Well, actually a lot of the artwork ships to America. So, if you did want a painting, the link's in the bio, and I would love to make you a painting of your mother. This is absolutely something we could do. There we go. Beautiful. These are just the basic colours going on at the moment too. Angel. Come on, mate. Lift off that caps lock for us. There we go. Sneak that in there and around there. It's not fair on people who don't use caps lock. Makes their ones harder to read. Heather, no, this is an in-between piece. So we had we've got some fantastic canvases being made for a few commissions, and I just wanted to crack in to I better check because I'm picking them up today. I need to get them before the place closes. There we go. Which I may be running short on time, so we may have to come back and finish this elephant tonight. There we go. Put that in there. Let me have a look-see here. Look at that beautiful elephant. Standing out. You know how I know this is a elephant that deserves a promotion? He's outstanding in his field. I'm sorry, that was terrible. Guys, hey Matt, how are we doing? And today you're wearing different colours. Yes, I am. Why? Because I felt like it. And we're individuals and we can do whatever we like. So let my exercising, chucking on some funky colours, allow you to go out there and maybe rather than having that flat white that you usually have, spice out with a cappuccino with some cinnamon on top. Or an Americano, you know. World's wild, do you. Drop a honey in there, maybe cream. And yes, go for gold maybe, baby. Guys, I have to run to pick up these canvases. I didn't realise. But I will be back later on tonight and we'll do a proper session. We're going to finish off this elephant, finish off that landscape, and then I've got one more picture to work on. But we were here for 2 hours, so still having some fun, but these canvases are finished sooner than I realised. So anyway, thanks for joining in, guys. You're all a bunch of champions. Joe, congratulations on guessing the elephant first. I thought it was going to be more subtle, but you guys got it straight away. And Pink, Victoria, if you're still here, Ryan, champion. Alright guys, I will see you later. But yeah, we didn't get much painting done, so once I've got my canvases, we are going to do a late night session. So I'll see you later on, if you're around. Heather, it was brief, but it was fun. I'll catch you later, guys. Bye.